while today. Let me get my chat up on the computer here, and hopefully we'll have some fun today. Because I need it a little bit. Excuse me. It's going to be a rough start because Ace is here. You won't be able to see him because he's way down, like down by my feet. I'm sitting at my desk right now. But Ace, you want to come over and say hi? No? Okay. He's a lot less camera shy than Echo was. Echo kind of was just like, not really my thing, especially as he got older. But Ace is like always around me. So in probably a lot of my videos moving forward, you'll probably hear Ace. Like he's usually by my feet, and then in the middle of me recording, I'll say a word and he'll get up and his face will be like right here. So sometimes I'll leave the edits in, sometimes I won't. Tariq, how's it going? What's going on, dude? How are you? So I'm trying to start this off chipper and in a good mood because I'm actually in quite the opposite mood. But hey, what's up, Eddie's Mullet? How's it going, dude? Welcome. But I will try to theme this a little bit to Venom. I haven't done a Venom vlog in a while and never edit Ace out. I'll try not to. Yeah. Sometimes he comes in though and he's like, there's just water dripping off his face because he went and stuck his head in his bowl, and then there's like food. It's like really gross. So I don't think he wants to be represented in that way on screen. So sometimes I have to edit him out. Hey, did you see that? What's up, Mike? How's it going? I'm glad I could do this. We'll get into that in a minute, but I just wanted to, like I said, I want to start off on a positive note, hoping I can maintain that through however long we do this. I'm not planning on an end. I'll just end when my head hurts more than it does right now. And so I'll just go until I feel like not going anymore, until I feel like we've talked about things that I want to talk about. But like I said, I'll try to theme it around something that's a line from the first Venom movie, which is being a loser. And now I know I've already had people write me based on my post yesterday and also my Instagram post, people saying like, hey, don't talk like that. You're not a loser. I feel like in this instance, I am, and I think it's an accurate statement. I know I have people that go, Siike, you're too hard on yourself. You beat yourself up too much. All of those things are true. I set a very high standard for myself because I have always, from the moment I realized, oh shit, I have to relearn to walk and talk and take my driver's test and get my license back before I can work and go and have a normal life again. The bar was high, it was really hard, that road. And so because of that, I can't shake it. My bar is always up here, and I feel like I can always do better. And I never see, and still don't see, a problem with having that mentality. But people at work will say, oh, you're being too emotional, you're going, whatever. And my rebuttal is always, well, you're not being emotional enough. You're not thinking about, you're not putting anyone's, feelings and work ethic really in the picture here. If it's all just a science to you of, oh, well, it makes sense to move this person to this location. If like in this case, I have a job that I love a lot. And recently someone at my job, supervisor, made me feel like I could do more there. And I've been waiting for someone to have that feeling towards me, because I'm not someone who always says what I want, especially at work. I observe people when I was like a manager at Lego and other places, like, yes, it helps sometimes when people verbalize things, but I like to look at what people are doing. Their actions to me speak louder than words. And not a lot of people say that every day, but not a lot of people do that. And I try to really do that. I try to show, hey, look, I'm working more. I used to work here 3 days a week. Now I'm working 4. Now I'm working 5. I'm coming in early. I'm doing jobs that aren't part of my job title. They're part of the job above me. I'm learning. I'm asking to learn, and I don't like to repeat myself. So if I ask once and no one teaches me, then I get like, okay, well, I guess they don't want to teach me, and I kind of back up a little bit. Then there are times where I have my own health stuff going on, or I lose Echo, which was soul crushing to me. And I'm going through these life experiences while trying to still hold it together at work and be a professional. And I feel like a lot of times when you work with companies, it's just, well, here's maybe on paper what doesn't work, or it makes more sense to do this because we feel it's the path of least resistance. And usually people who so sorry, usually people who work up top don't like to work, and I don't even care who at my job sees this video. There is a level of laziness with people the further up you go sometimes, and so to me, I feel like it's just easier to make a move that they're doing instead of investing a little bit of time and effort into somebody who wants something and has been putting in the work for it. So I think sometimes there's no, like, they may say, oh, we see that and we appreciate that, but there's no effort to work with me and put me in a better position, or at least close to the position I want to be in based on my actions. People are like, oh, you got to spoon feed me. And I know everyone learns a different way, but if you're a leader, typically you should watch what your people are doing. And I feel like for a long time at this job, apparently people weren't really watching me. So I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I feel like I was up for a promotion, or I should say I wasn't up for a promotion. I applied for a promotion that at one point maybe I thought about wanting, and then a year ago I had a seizure and bit into my tongue, and I was like, okay, well, obviously I probably shouldn't continue down this path. In fact, I was working 2 jobs last Christmas, and I quit one for this job. I quit Lego, a company I was with for 5 years, to pursue a chance to grow at a new company at Harley Davidson. I thought that in that action, that was enough to show the people above me, okay, he's committed to us. He chose the path of most resistance, and he's here with us. He could have stayed at that Lego job and just killed it easily, no problem, and made more money, but he came here instead. So what I hate is that how oblivious everyone was to these, what I feel are very clear signs of me wanting more at this company. So, and I did verbalize it sometimes, but I guess either not to the right person, or not in the way they wanted to hear it, or they thought I was being serious, or whatever. So I applied for this job. I went into the interview and I crushed it. I mean, there was maybe, if I could think back, maybe 2 or 3 things I probably should have worded differently. But honestly, considering I said the word balls in my first interview and still got the job, I feel like nothing I said in that interview would have prevented me from getting the job. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like it was, I realized in that interview I had more experience for the job they wanted me to, or that I was applying for, than even I knew. Because they were like, oh, you got to wear a lot of hats. And I'm like, well, when I worked in comics, I had to do marketing. I had to email people, call people, try to set up meetings with people, work with my boss, get books to the printer, approve artwork, all these things. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. All of a sudden, my throat is just not working. But I haven't really talked all day, so that's probably what it is. So all these things, I've worn many hats, and I did that job for years. And then I went on to Lego, where I was one of the few people at that place, at that specific Lego location, because Lego mostly likes to promote, or they don't like to promote from within a lot. They like to bring in outside people, and they still do promote within sometimes, but usually when they do, they send you to another store. So there's like a lot of dumb politics, and they think this is like a good way to run a business. And I think Lego's full of shit when it comes to that, because it may work in some instances, but it does not work as a whole, and it does not, in my opinion, create good morale or give incentive to people that are working at a certain location that grow to love it there and the customer base. So to me, I think there's a lot of things corporate people don't look at that are very essential. And because I'm on the ground floor a lot, seeing it, these are the things I feel are most essential. Now, I don't think the stuff they believe are essential aren't. I just think it's a case-by-case basis. And for me, I feel like nobody wanted this job more than me. Maybe someone might be slightly more qualified in some areas for the job than me, but it would have been an easier path. I feel the path of least resistance if I would have just was able to get that job. So obviously I can be mad about not getting the job, and that's no one's real fault except in the end mine. But this is where coming back to the whole being a loser thing, and I'll catch up on comments in a second, but I feel like I am liked at work, but not respected. And that makes me feel like kind of a loser, because it means I haven't maybe been applying myself in a way to earn anyone's respect. So again, I can sit here and say I don't agree with their decisions or whatever, but I don't know what perspective they're looking at me or that job position from. And then when they tried to offer me a job at another store, it was a store that is maybe closer to where I live, but it's a store that was detrimental to my health. I still can't drive at night because of seizures, car lights and stuff. And it's a place that's open later. And I highly doubt they're going to give me all day shifts to go work there. And I highly doubt they're going to give me the work schedule I want or need so that I don't fatigue out every week at this job. Plus, it's a place that gets a lot of call outs. And I don't want to have to carry and do the work of 3 or 4 people unless I'm getting a promotion, unless there's some incentive, something in it for me other than an opportunity. I want pay, something else, So for me, I got upset, and I told everyone, I said, look, I'm not ungrateful to an extent. I mean, I appreciate getting the interview was nice, although I feel like I had no shot at all. And I feel like the interview was really just a waste of my time. Maybe it showed a couple other people that I was interested in the job that they didn't realize I was interested in, but I was. And I verbalized it to the people that mattered most, like my supervisor, and she was pushing me in that direction to, and helping coaching me so that I, could do the best I could at that interview. And I think I did a great job at that interview. And I think who knows, they probably still chose a good person. I don't know this person. I don't want to take anything away from them or their life experiences or stuff they've been through. But in my eyes, they didn't want it more than I did. And in my eyes, I don't think they earned it as much as I did. But that's just from my perspective, right? So, so I felt like kind of a loser because I give a lot to this place, more than most people would give to a job. When I had my surgery last year on my birthday, no less, I went in 4 days later because I was used to that at Lego. And because Lego would usually be like, all right, you can have your couple days off. And then, so-and-so doesn't want to work on the weekends and we need a manager on the weekend. So you got to come in after having coils put into my brain. That's the kind of company Lego was for me sometimes. But here they were like, I came in 4 days later and they're like, go home. You look like you're barely standing. Which I was barely standing, because as the older I get and the more times I have these procedures, the bounce back is not as quick. So they let me go home. Now I ended up losing a whole week and a half of pay, which really screwed me, financially. But my health was more important, right? So, but I still was willing to do that. Even after my seizure, I cracked my head on the floor, and it looked like there was a chance that people at work, they had to go get COVID tested immediately because they weren't sure who might not have had it. So I went in for them. I went in even after my head hit this hardwood floor behind me. And I give a lot to that place as far as keeping it clean and motivating myself to push for sales and get sales up there and hit our goals. And I'm interested and I care. And when I went from a lower hourly rate and a bonus, I got sales bonuses. When we went from that to just increasing our hourly rate a little bit and no bonuses, I even worked harder. I was like, look, I know I have a chance I'm making less money now because on the months where I hit my bonuses, I made a lot more money and it would help me financially. Now I had no shot of getting those bonuses. And I still worked hard. And I still made sure we hit our goals. And I was still, to what I feel, an ideal representative of that location. We've had customers in the whole time I've been there. I've had one customer yell at me ever. One at least that I can remember. And I've only had 2 people leave unhappy that I can remember. I had a guy the other day come in. He was like, look, I hate shopping here. I'm just in the area. You guys never have what I want. And this item that you have here is too expensive, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, I never get good service here. And I turned that guy around. That guy actually, when he was leaving, said, hey man, this is the best service I've ever gotten here. And he goes, if you're going to stick around, I'll come back and shop here. That happens on a weekly basis for me. I am really good at turning people that are angry around and getting them to calm down, because I approach everything like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. I'm a brain aneurysm survivor. I've been through a lot. Trust me, whatever problem you have with the store or your experience, it's nothing, and I can take care of it, and I can turn you around on that, and I do that a lot. So, and I know there are people at my work that recognize that, but apparently the people that mattered most, they do not recognize that, and they couldn't be convinced of it. So, so again, all that just makes me feel like a loser. And again, I'm not trying to blame any of them. They feel how they feel, and that's fine. And the fact that I didn't get the job by itself, I was kind of like, okay, I can wrap my head around this. I don't feel so bad. But then it was like, well, hey, why don't we brush you off and put you over at this other location? Which again, first thing I thought of was, well, that location has a lot of call outs and it would be detrimental to my health based on hours. And they were like, oh yeah, we didn't think of that. And I go, okay, so then I also don't have people thinking about me. I'm just a number to them. I'm just a thing to shift around on the map. And because it's worked in the past. Instead of isolating me as going, hey, this is a unique instance, let's handle it in a unique way. They're just, let's just do what's always worked. And that just made me feel less than human, which I did an episode about that a while back when I worked at SeaWorld, where I got dehydrated at SeaWorld from working out in the sun, and I had to go to the hospital. They sent me. I wanted to go home and just pass out in my bed. And I said, if I die, at least I die home in bed. But they were like, no, for purposes for work, we have to send you to the ER. They send me there. I told them I'm an aneurysm survivor, so they immediately checked me for any of that, make sure I'm okay there. And they're like, okay, this is not aneurysm related. This is dehydration related. So we're going to hook you up, put some IVs in you, and we need to hydrate the living hell out of you right now. So that to me means it was a work issue, because there was no water station nearby, nowhere for me to fill up my water, and no one came and checked on me. And they're supposed to check on me every hour to hour and a half, and they never came to check on me. And by the time they did, I was already passing out. So that instance, I came in a couple days later and I said, okay, I'm back, I'm ready to work. And they said, okay, well, because you have a pre-existing condition of aneurysms, we aren't paying for that medical bill. That's what HB Leisure said to me, the company, and they said, we're not paying for it. And they said, so, now it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday or something. And he's like, so here's your game. Cause I used to work the carnival games there. He's like, go work the basketball game, and we'll come check on you in a few hours. And your goal today is that you have to make $1,000 in cash. We didn't have card readers at this point. It was all cash. And a lot of people in COVID did not carry cash. And the parks, it wasn't like they were full either. So my goal was at $1,000, and I did. I did it because I wanted to show them that it doesn't matter when they give me bad news. I will finish my day. I will finish my shift with my head high and do my work, except for when I clocked out for lunch and I held my head down because I was tired and bummed out. I did the same thing yesterday. They gave me that bad news at the beginning of the day, and I still had my lunch, and then I still, finished the day strong. And didn't hit my sales goal, but got close and hit my ADS, which is more important when you don't hit your sales goal, is your ADS. So still performing at the level I'm supposed to, even when getting news that infuriated me. So again, I don't know. And yes, I was bummed out at work, and yes, some people could tell, but ultimately the customers couldn't. And that's all that matters. And I made sure every guest that came in had a good experience and left with what they wanted, and left with safety equipment that would keep them safe. So I did my job, even when most people would have probably just walked out of there. And the weird thing is I didn't even have the urge to walk out of there. I just said, finish your day, take tomorrow off. So that's why we're here. And I know some of you will say, oh, well, so see, some of that makes you not a loser. And at the end of the day, I still feel like one, because I feel like my time was wasted. And even though there's some people that are still willing to invest in me, I'm divided on how I feel about that. There are still some people that want to continue to train me and get me ready in case something like this opens up again. And I know a lot of you will say, well, that's good. That's a good thing. But these are also the people that got outvoted this time on wanting to, saying Siike should have this position and fighting for me. And they still got outvoted. So I feel like the people in charge, just like at Lego, some people just see no value in you, and you can't prove them otherwise. They have an image of you in their head, and it's not leader material, it's not whatever material, and it's not some number they can move on around on a map. And I'm opinionated at times, and I like to challenge people, and some people don't like that either. So, but I try to be very carefree and laid back at work and treat everybody fair. And yet, you know, I feel like this time I wasn't treated as fair. But again, that's my perspective, probably not their perspective. They're probably like, hey man, we tried, and then we rolled out the red carpet for you to, you know, move you in another position at another store and whatever. And again, that's their perspective. To me, it didn't feel like, because of the detriments to my health it would cause, it didn't feel like a good offer, you know, and it's certainly not one I'm going to put my health first. It's certainly not one I'm going to take. I just want to say, man, did you see it says, appreciate how you've been feeling, and sometimes it's yourself that has to come out on top. You're not a loser. I've been out of a job and felt like a loser without money. And that was the case for 2 months. I felt like the lowest of the low and barely any money. We set ourselves a high standard. And when something happens that changes that, it can challenge us. I mean, I agree on all points. And yeah, a lot of us do have high standards for ourselves, and so when people say, oh, you're being too hard on yourself, I'm like, but that's your perspective. Like, how are you going to tell a guy who used to curse at himself and curse at God every time I failed walking when I was trying to relearn to walk? How are you going to tell that guy he's too hard on himself? Because look at the result. I'm walking now. So I don't like hearing that people, when they say you're too hard on yourself, I'm like, I agree. I set a high standard, but I think I'm exactly the level of toughness on myself I need to be in order to perform at the level that I perform at. There's nothing wrong with losing. People not understanding that is how to rebound from it is a problem in our culture. Yeah, and like I said, this is me trying to rebound. I want to get all this out there, and I honestly don't care if it gets me in trouble on some level. I'm being honest, and this is how I feel. And I feel like I've tried at work sometimes talking to people and telling them how I feel in this way. Maybe I held some of it back. Maybe I didn't word it the right way or really show how frustrated I am. But now this exists, and this also exists for me in case like 2 weeks from now I forget that I even applied for a job, and then I forget I even didn't get the job. This is a video for me to come back to and see the frustration on my face and see and hear in my voice, you know, how frustrated I am. What's up, Andrew? How's it going, brother? Good to see you, my friend. But you know how you feel, no matter how much people say or how others react. Never underestimate yourself and your life. You're fighting every day and continue to give love and support to Ace and family. Did you see that says? He also says, you're a strong person and you could give up any time. Like my idol, like Michael J. Fox. Oh man, I don't know if I'm in his category. That guy he's an idol, all right. I mean, he's worth, you know, looking up to and admiring. I was a Christopher Reeve guy. So I know, looking up to somebody, you know, who struggles. You know, Michael J. Fox is awesome. I know you're a big Back to the Future fan too. But you both fight on and realize something's wrong. Try and make it better. Know your worth. Sorry for that's okay. You're welcome to message as much as you want. Hello, Angel Rose. How's it going? Sorry, I'm just getting to your messages. But thank you. And yeah, Ace has been a saving grace, because I'll be honest, if I didn't get Ace, I don't know if I would have been able to compose myself to keep going at work and build up the confidence I built to go into that interview. I don't think I would have taken that interview. I don't think I would have even applied for the job if I was still grieving over Echo, which I still am, but Ace helps barrier that. I got Ace selfishly, you know, like I wanted to rescue him too, but I wanted him to rescue me. I wanted to be able to get back on a schedule. I needed my schedule back. I needed to make sure I walked at these points of the day so I get that exercise. I want to make sure I eat at certain times. You know, I had to get back on that path. Because I knew work needed me. They relied on me. And I knew I wanted to try to prove, because at one point they said, we're not going to hire this position. And I said, great, then that gives me time to learn and I can grow. And then by the time that position is available, I can apply for it. And then out of nowhere, they say, all right, we're taking interviews for next week. And this was like Friday. And then I emailed someone and texted them and said, I'm interested. And then got like a quick message back, and then didn't hear anything until Monday. But at that point, other interviews were already scheduled. So I knew right then and there, I was not a priority, and it didn't make me feel like one. And even my supervisor was like, you're reading too much into it. And I said, I said, no, I've just been here before. The interview I'm going to be given is a courtesy, and maybe one where they think, okay, well, we can move this chess piece over to this other store if he turns out to, do anything slightly impressive in that meeting. So I feel like the goal was to never, ever give me a real chance at the job I wanted, and that is why I feel like a loser, because I feel like I was played. We appreciate what you're doing, Andrew says, and their actions show no understanding. The thing is, and I have a narrow life experience, so pinch of salt, people by and large aren't observant. I understand that. But when you're a certain way, like I am observant. I recognize everything. I have no visual memory, so I have to try to learn in a unique way. When people tell me things, there's a chance I'll forget. So I'm not an auditory learner. And when people are direct with me, sometimes that doesn't work either. I usually just watch what people are doing. And I understand not everyone is. And I knew that going in, but I still felt like the stuff I was doing, the actions I was taking, even to someone who wasn't observant, I felt like still showed that I was interested. And but I was wrong. So definitely lesson learned there for me, for sure. The way you describe Lego's promotion practice seems to be less designed to encourage people and more designed to keep any potential rivals from rising up to challenge them. That's exactly it. And I think on some level, that's why I decided not to go to that other store, because they are going to give someone that job that I applied for, and that person is going to come to our store. And I want to see what the hubbub is. I want to be there and watch them, and maybe even learn from them on some level. How did they get the job and I didn't? So I want to be there. And if things go wrong, I want to be there for that too. And if there's ways to challenge them, I'm going to challenge them, because at the end of the day, they got the job I wanted. And I'm not going to be a D-bag or anything. And if they're the boss, so if they tell me to do something, obviously I'm going to do it and be respectful. But I'm still like, I'm going to look for openings to challenge, and I'm going to look for flaws. I'm also going to look for things to learn from, positives too, but I'm going to have them under a microscope. And I feel like that's fair and justified, in my opinion. Also, got to agree about Lego. I had a very similar experience with that, and I've been out of retail for a couple of years. I miss it at times, but some of the BS about it. I really liked Lego. The job itself and the store I was at, and a lot of people I worked with there were awesome. And I felt like there was a couple people that you couldn't motivate. I won't call them lazy, but I would say it was just hard to motivate them. But I was like that sometimes too. So it's not a judgment, it's just an observation. And I agree. And I think Lego's system of just sending people to other places in order to get the promotion they want is like a control and power thing. And it's shitty, I feel. Because when you build a rapport with guests and you get guests to keep coming back over and over to your location, you kind of want that person to continue that, right? And to have that rub off on the others, and they see, oh, look, okay, this is the rapport he builds with guests. I'm going to do the same thing too, and get guests. And the more that people that work at a location do that, the more loyal guests you're creating, because we are up against, when you work in a brick and mortar store, Lego or not, you are up against the internet, where you can buy anything and get it to your house the next day if you want. So you need to create an experience that is unlike anything someone can get on the internet, and it makes them glad they got in their car and went out and touched grass that day and came into your store. And then you want them to come back and do that again. So to me, I feel like that's where I excel at. And I think that's what our store needs in a manager, in a co-manager, is someone who is that good with people, who likes to schedule things and structure things. I mean, I have a memory board behind me. I have calendars over here, dry erase calendars, where I keep track of all these things I got to do. I got cork boards here and there where I pin notes to and keep things, together. Who better to bring structure to a place than someone who has to live in a structure in his life? So again, I feel like I bring things that our store needs, and I'm going to see if this other person brings that stuff. And if they do, maybe I can learn. If they're good at it, maybe I can learn to be better at it. I saw a position, a few candidates pre-selected before an interview, but companies go through the motions to avoid legal actions. That's exactly it. So I don't want to get into legality stuff or talk about that, but I will say there's not a single male manager at the 8 locations that we kind of own currently in apparel and merchandise. Not a single male. It's all women, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with any of them. They're all hard workers, but it does feel like that, though. If I was that type, I feel like it's an easy lawsuit card to play because of the amount of evidence. I wasn't given a real shot. It was just a formality to give me that interview. And the person who got the job, like I said, they may or may not be more experienced than me. I can't argue that or whatever. But all I can say is that this week on the conference call, there will still be all women on the conference call. And so I just feel like that's a little unfair sometimes. And especially someone who works as hard as I do and helps keep our numbers up, when I feel this person is coming from a place that doesn't. The numbers aren't consistent sometimes. So I don't know, but that's just my perspective, and it could be coming from ignorance. So I don't mean to be harsh there, but just sometimes it's just feelings, right? But then also sometimes it is things I look through, because I look through the the daily focus and all these things that we have to do every day. I mean, I pay attention. Like, I want the job, so I've been paying attention. So I was kind of surprised when there was a couple people saying, we're shocked that Siike wants this job. I was like, really? Okay, well then you don't know me like you thought you knew me. What's up, Georgie? How's it going? Dang, indeed. Dude, management and corporate will never care about you as a person. To them, they can never afford to care. I know this because my stepdad was essentially corporate, and he's never felt like he can. For people like my stepdad, at least, it is never personal. It's what's better for the workflow. Said he would absolutely head scratch over the suggestion of store moving over health. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, again, and I've had people tell me that it's not personal, and it's like, that's fine. My ultimate issue really wasn't that I didn't get the job. That really wasn't the thing that upset me. When she told me that, I was kind of like, okay. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll stay here and I'll get to learn more, and it'll give me more time to grow. It was the mention of the shift of putting me somewhere where, in my mind, instantly made me think of it being a detriment to my health. That's where I felt like a loser, and I felt like I wasn't paid attention to. I mean, I won Employee of the Month, I think, towards the end of last year, something that my supervisor pushed for, because she was like, you work really hard and you push yourself and you hit a standard that's very high, probably even higher than some of the standards we have here. So I think you should, you deserve to be Employee of the Month. And it took her like 2 or 3 months to convince people to agree that I've earned Employee of the Month. And when I got it, they didn't even spell my name right on the Employee of the Month certificate. So I couldn't, every month when someone wins, they take a picture of them holding the certificate. And they didn't even spell my name right. So I couldn't even get my photo taken and actually be acknowledged on the website and on the social media pages and all that stuff. And I was just like, man. So again, there's just these little moments that show me that they don't care. Like, Andrew's right. No one cares. And I understand that is the way with corporate stuff, but I literally worked with people that I felt like I was really connecting to the whole 1.5 years that I've been working there. And that was the eye opener for me, was that none of them seemed to even really know me or know what my motivations were or know why I worked so hard. They were like, oh, you work hard to move up? That's weird. It's like, really? That's strange to you? So yeah, I don't take it personal, the not getting the job. Like I said, there's opportunity there for me to maybe learn from this new person who comes in, and that's fine. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to stay where I was and just maybe continue to learn and continue to grow and maybe be ready next time something like this happens. The clincher for me was the offer to go to another store. That's where I kind of got. I understand their motivation on one level, because the spin is, hey, we do want to give you opportunity, so we're going to give you this title, but it doesn't pay more, but you might have an opportunity to do more if you bring sales up at that store, because sales are need help being raised up. And I'm like, no. I'm like, the person who had that job should be doing that. I don't want that job because it doesn't pay more, and it's going to be a lot more heartache and physical wear on me because people are going to call out like they have been. So, and I'm not going to fill all their shifts. And because you think I owe you because I got some title that doesn't pay me more. I'm worth more, and that's the bottom line. But if they think I'm worth $14 an hour, I can work at that level. I just don't think a lot of stuff's going to get done. But it's not in me to do that, but I'm just saying I could. Sorry, Mike, I don't know where your comments went. You're being too hard on yourself. From experience, it's hard to back off when nobody else is willing to treat you like anything other than a liability. I mean, I think sometimes that is. Like, I actually unfriended one of my supervisors or former supervisor and on Instagram and removed him from following me because I feel like sometimes, so when I vent about how I feel lost and how I feel like, you know, a loser, up until this point, I was never talking about my day job. I was always talking about Neverland and House of Ghosts, the two stories that I'm writing. I have had so much drama and anguish behind the scenes with the editor that I hired for Neverland that it's broken down my confidence, which is why work was feeling so good, because I had a supervisor there building up my confidence. But no one at work asked about that. They just see me complaining or moaning or bitching on Instagram about things being tough, which they are. I mean, Echo passed away. I tore a rotator cuff in my arm. Like, things aren't easy. And I'm struggling financially. Like, things are, and I had people help me recently, and it still wasn't enough because now I owe money for taxes because someone screwed something up in accounting at work, and they took out only like $1 every check of my taxes. Only took out like 50 cents, 60 cents. So now I owe hundreds of dollars this year to taxes. Normally I get at least $300 or $400 back to help me get ahead when I'm this far behind. And now I owe money again, or owe money for the first time. But again, meaning like I always owe money to something. So I just was like, I really was looking for a win. So it was just like all these things that just went wrong these past few months was just too much. It was too much. And I think I broke. I think last night, I just broke emotionally. I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, because when that happens, you have to understand, and it's not fair to the job and the people at my job. But what happens is when a series of bad things happen now, I think we're all like this. The levee breaks. Everything, the wall we built to hold out past crap, like me going through and having to learn how to walk again, me getting my license back, me finding work and being bad at it, being bad at my first few jobs, you know, coming back to LA at 44 Blue and all these other places, like having to learn and not being able to keep my anger in check because of my head injuries. All these things like that all floods back. All the times you fail flood back, and it just swallows you. And it was just too much. So like, that's why you saw the post on Instagram that you've seen. It's because it was just too damn much. Thank you, Blacktastic, by the way, to Jaya. Here, listening and passing no judgment. Let it flow, brother. Thank you, sir. Hope you're doing well, man. I hope your movie's going well. It looks amazing, by the way. Hello, Swordsman. How's it going? If they are only promoting women because they're women, that isn't right. Well, I don't think that's why they're promoting women. I'm not saying, first of all, my supervisor, super qualified. She's moved up twice in the year she's been there, and it's well-deserved. She sees potential in people and tries to work with them on developing that potential. I'm sorry to the guy who hired me, but he didn't do that to me. And at least I don't feel like he did. So if he tried, it wasn't obvious in his actions, because that's how I learn. And I know everyone always says, well, not everyone learns that way, Siike, so you should change. And I'm like, no, fuck you. You change. I've changed enough to adapt. I change enough every day to be and stand there and look normal and speak to everybody. It's a struggle on some level every day. And I do it, and I don't come home and complain, other than I'm tapped out. Like, I come home, I get mad when I come home from work and I'm too exhausted because of the physical stuff I was doing, like helmets last week, and going in early and pushing myself because I wanted to prove to them that I could do this job and that I won't complain about it. And then I come home and I'm like, okay, well then I can't write tonight. Or I come home and I get in a fight with my damn editor who I fired because I'm tired. Like the past 4 months we've been fighting. Like this is not what I hired them for. The books 1 and 2 are done. 3 is done on a first draft. I need 3 edited. 1 and 2, I just needed some continuity things fixed. Now that 3 is done, and I needed some grammatical things checked. And I was getting rewritten pages. Like that is not what I paid this person for. So it was just too much. Like I would come home physically exhausted and then emotionally be strung out by this person. And I kept most of that offline. So then when which was my choice, because I'm not here to like blast anybody. We have a difference of opinion. We have a different mindset of what editing means. That's fine. They got their money and we left, and I said no hard feelings. Like, I'm sorry, but I guess I'm just too difficult to work with on this because I wanted something specific and I'm not getting it. So like, let's just part ways before we just kill each other and just go on about our lives. And because I don't post about that in that kind of detail, when I post, oh man, I had a rough day today, someone at work sees that and they think, oh, he's complaining about work. And it's like, that's not fucking fair. Talk to me. Ask me, hey, why were you upset last night? I saw your Instagram post. And I said, you know what, better yet, unfollow them. They work with me. They shouldn't be looking at my Instagram anyway. That it's a private Instagram, and it's for me to open up when I feel the way I feel like this without judgment or or blowback. Holy shit, Mike Z. It may not be much. I know you don't ask for anything, but man, if I can personally help at all, I will. Have an absolute crazy respect for you. I don't know why, man. Thanks, Mike. I don't know why. And then I come home and I look at my YouTube videos and it's like 3 views, 4 views. I'm putting up videos that make me happy, but because even my friend John told me, he said, dude, I saw your, Extreme Carnage videos. You look miserable. Like you look like you're done talking about symbiotes. And I said, I am. I'm so exhausted. I really just like talking about Tom Hardy. So these comics suck. They just suck. And everyone who writes them suck at their jobs. They are awful at their jobs. And I'm tired of reviewing and talking about their books because it is a complete waste of my time and money and energy. So I'm just waiting for news for Venom 3, and but I see my channel dying and I see people unsubscribing and I'm just like, God, I just want a win. Just a win. Like Ace, big victory. I went out and did that myself. I went and found a dog that needed a home and I needed a friend and it was perfect. And I'm so glad I have that. He is my win for 2022 so far. And if I only have him, that is good enough for me. That is more than enough for me. But financially, I was hoping for a financial win because Ace has cost me a lot of money so far, even though he was free at the shelter, but we spent over $400 on the first vet visit. We have another visit coming up on Thursday. We have shots coming up after that for heartworm. I think the heartworm shots might be covered by the shelter though. So I think we're good on the spending right now. And then I had a friend donate some food to me because she realized how tough things were. And that was amazing. And it's a big help because he already finished the $30 bag of food I bought him, and he's already working on the bag that was donated to him. So yeah, this guy eats. But I wanted to feed him because he was skinny. You could see his bones and hips, and now you can't. He's thickening up. He's a thick boy like his old man. So I'm happy to have Ace, but I was just hoping for some other win somewhere. And when it wasn't taxes, I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll be this job. And then now it's not this job. And then I was like, okay. And then when they offered me a lateral move with no extra pay, I was like, so I'm still not even getting the thing I need, and I feel like I'm not being listened to. Andrew says, I can absolutely understand. Oh, by the way, swordsman, so they're not just hiring women just to do that. I just noticed, I'm a pattern noticer. So I notice patterns. So when I see the conference call, I see all women. That's the first thing I notice. Just like I notice when I see the conference call, there's 9 people there, So I'm like, okay, I notice numbers, I notice things like that. it just, when things move in a pattern, I noticed it. You know, if everyone there was wearing a blue shirt, I would notice that immediately, because it's a pattern. The dot connects really fast for me. So it's not that. It's not that they're just promoting women and that men don't have a chance there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, and like I said, the person who got hired clearly is more qualified than me. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got the job. I want to believe that. But I feel like, so that I'm not upset with. The thing I said I was upset with was let's move them over here, without even considering where they were trying to move me to and how much it would hurt. I have anxiety. I have panic attacks. I forget where I am sometimes. At work, I forgot a whole week. I was standing there folding shirts, and then I woke up folding shirts, and I was like, wait, I was just asleep. And I was saying what I was doing. I was like, oh, I did this and I did this. And they were like, yeah, that was last Wednesday night. And I'm like, and this was 8 days later. I have moments where I'm like, not here. You know, I'm trying not to struggle. I'm hide it a little bit better now, but it hurts. Like, it hurts to realize, oh crap, like what happened? How did I get here? It's like, my friend compared it to when you get hit in the head with a baseball and you hit the ground, and then, but in a second you're awake and there's an ice pack on your head and you're moved over to the bleachers somewhere. Like, it's an instant for you. And that's what it's like for me. I just jump, like I just move, and I'm somewhere else and I'm doing things that I don't remember doing. I feel safe at the place I work because I have these things that could go wrong. If I go work at some new place, I will be anxious, I will be nervous, I will not function at the level that they expect me to function at. So, I don't know. And then I'm told, well, you need to be more flexible because moving around is how you can get that job and how you can get promoted. I'm like, but yet I've seen firsthand people get promoted here and move up here. So I know that's not impossible. So I just hate the spin people want to put on things. And they do it because they care on some level, right? And that's great. But I'd rather the truth. And the truth, nobody, I feel like, was telling me the truth. Being honest, man, you're explaining that. They let you know about your health. Sending you to another store is a slap in the face and not giving you the recognition you deserve. That's how I take it. They didn't mean it that way, I know. They literally said, oh, we didn't even think about that. But then when they said that, I got even more depressed and sad because I'm like, wow. Then I thought about, oh, getting that certificate and my name being spelled wrong. And I'm like, yeah, this is the place that seems like they're strong-armed to give me things that I earn. Like, what's up, Siike? I remember there's nothing wrong with showing emotion. People get knocked down and break. Just find the strength to get back up and keep moving. Rick, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you, man. I hope you're doing well. We're here for you. Thank you, guys. Well, I wanted to do this really for my sanity. I was like, if I stay in bed, I was in bed all morning. I didn't eat since yesterday at lunch. Around 1 o'clock, and then I just ate now at 1 o'clock. So 24 whole hours before I ate. I was miserable, I was crying, I was emotional, and I was trying to just get all that energy out. And then I realized when I'm at work, like I was yesterday, and I felt as bad as I did, I still put on a strong face and did my job. And I said, do that today on YouTube. Don't just be a loser. You know, embrace that you lost. Embrace that you're a loser this time, but that there's a chance to move forward and still win at some point. And that's kind of the whole theme I want to do in this episode and how I'm tying it to Venom. Eddie Brock is like that, right? He's a loser. The symbiote is a loser in the movies, like, but they're pushing towards a goal. And sometimes they're lost. Sometimes they don't know what the goal is, or they don't verbalize it, or they don't tell people exactly how they feel, but they try to use their actions to convey that. And I'm getting tired of people saying, well, I'm not as observant. I'm not connecting the dots you're connecting. I'm like, okay, well then ask me, like, hey, I noticed you've been working more lately. Why? Oh, because I want the job. I want the job that's going to be opening up soon. Oh, okay, great. So communication, like, and I know sometimes I need to communicate things, but I felt like I was to the right people. To the people that were pushing me in that direction. I did not communicate to the people that weren't. That's true. Lesson learned. I will do that next time. Or they know now. But in the moment, I was just verbalizing all this with the person who was giving me the strength and giving me the confidence to even go in for the interview. It's because you were awesome, Swartzman says. Yeah, the new run has me utterly miserable. Yeah, that's what I hear. Maybe reviewing Donnie's Hulk run will cheer you up. No, I'll just be negative, you know, and I don't want to feel like I beat up on that guy a little too much. Rick's, dude, $10. I mean, again, you guys don't have to do this stuff. Like, I didn't mention money because I'm looking for that, you know. I just it's part of the venting, you know. Like, I will find a way to. It'll work out, you know, like things will work out. But I mean, with your help, it's gonna work out faster for sure. But thank you. You guys don't have to do any of that, and please don't feel like you need to. You just hearing me complain and be emotional is helping me tremendously. So especially without judgment, like Tajaya is doing. Thank you, Tajaya. Agree, I've just turned Venom off unless it's movie related because it's been a while before any course correction is possible. The movies are fun and I like Tom, and that's the reason I started the show. And it was nice to go in and dive into the history of the character, but I feel like Extreme Carnage and King in Black were good places to jump off. And it doesn't mean that one day when I'm like when I get antsy and I just want to talk about Venom and there's no movie stuff, that I won't go to those comics and buy them in trade or something and catch up then. Never say never, but my plan is to not do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give any of the new books any attention because of just the past few years I've had with Donnie. I don't want writers to feel like I'm some kind of bully or like just hate them personally. Like it's nothing like that. And I feel like sometimes I skirted that line about how I felt about Donnie, and really it was just his writing. I felt ways, it was me challenging him. This is how I am at work sometimes. With people who I see potential in, I challenge them. You know, there's a girl that works with me at work that she's younger, but I asked her. I said, you know, why didn't you apply for the job? You've been here for a couple of years, and she was honest with me. She says, you know, I don't think I'm ready for responsibility, and I think I have trouble growing up a little bit. And I said, well, would you like the confidence to feel like you could handle responsibility? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, has anyone ever asked you that before? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, someone gave me confidence here by just motivating me, telling me I'm doing a good job, giving me a task and making sure I completed it. I'm like, I'm happy to do that for you if you think it'll give you more focus and if you think it'll add anything to your experience here. And she was like, sure. So I know I have the ability to reach people on some level. That's why I like doing YouTube. I like talking to people. That's why I'm in retail. I like talking to people. I like selling things too. Like not here because I'm always never getting my shirt designs done or not creating membership things or whatever. But this has always been my outlet, my fun, and my sanity. The place where I'm kind of in control, but where I can be honest and I feel like people don't judge me. Or if they do it quietly, and they skip this video and go on to the next one. But thank you, Ricky. Rick Smith, always here for you, bud. I appreciate that, and the $10. Mike Z, I appreciate the $17.99. Thank you guys. Thank you. Sounds like you're just pulling your chain. I got a little bit of that feeling, Swordsman, and that's why I felt like a loser, because I feel like I didn't have a real shot to get that job. It was just a formality, so they can say they interviewed someone else. Just randomly losing time is terrifying. Being more flexible. How the hell can you be more flexible when you need structure to hang everything off of? You need the structure to have any kind of security. I mean, that's 1,000% right. Like I want to be treated normal, right? Like I do. I want people to not look at me with pity. And I put on a strong face a lot of times. Sometimes I don't. I crack and I get sad and I get emotional. That's who I am. Like I'm not going to change because I feel there was a time after my aneurysm I wasn't emotional. I was a robot, and I was trying to figure out how to embrace different emotions because they were coming and going, like and getting the better of me and controlling me and not the other way around. And it took me years, and then working at Lego and being around people like that every day and working at Golden Apple and stuff, like it took years to get me to come out of my shell, be a little bit more extroverted, tuck down the anxiety and the depression and the self-loathing. It took a lot of time to push all that stuff down. And it took structure. So yes, I need to work at this building for structure. What if I start at another location, right? And I can't, and then I forget that I work at that location, and then I drive to the other one day. I'm sure I would leave notes so that wouldn't happen, but let's just say it did. It's possible. So to me, I feel comfortable where I am, and when I'm comfortable, I'm doing the job 10 times better than I'm supposed to be doing at the location I'm at. So when people say, well, you got to move and you got to be more flexible, I'm like, that may be the case in the past or with other people. But to say I have to do that to move up, but I can't do that so easily, means you're really setting me up to fail. You're not actually setting me up for success, which is what you're supposed to do in business. I watched someone who kicked ass at that job move up 2 positions in a year. So I didn't think it was impossible for me under her tutelage to move up 1 position. They act like I was out of my mind for wanting that. So yeah, it made me feel this way, right? And yes, I do need structure. I need it all the time. It's all around my apartment. I got to keep everything organized. So that seems like no one on their end is able to go, okay, we have a unique case here. We have someone with a special need or attention that something he requires that other people don't. Let's isolate this and handle it in this way. It was move on number 21 or 22, like move on, here you go. And honestly, fuck them for making me feel like that. Their excuse of promotion and what is not freaking awful. You don't deserve this. Oh, I appreciate that, Georgie. Again, you guys are hearing things from my perspective. I'm sure if I could have one of them on, they would probably paint a different picture. So let's try to be fair too. Like on some level, like I'm just mad, and this is the only way I know how to deal with it, because doing it quietly in my room was driving me insane. So I'm just putting it out here this way, so that way, I don't know, hope probably none of them will see it, but if someone does, they at least know now, like, why I feel the way I feel. Only thing you can gain out of losing is learning. Exactly. And then that's the thing, is like, I'm not against being a loser. I've been a loser before. And like I said, the job isn't really what I'm mad about. It's the shift, and maybe on some level who they're bringing in to work the job. I don't know them personally that well, but I feel they're not gonna match what we have going on at our store. They're not gonna fit in the way that, or they're not, I shouldn't say fit in, because they're probably nice. Like, I want to give them a chance and be fair, but and like I said, I want to be able to learn from them if I can. They're not my enemy, but I do want that job, and I'm going to be very clear from now on that is the job I want, and I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm going to verbalize it, and I'm going to tell it to the person who has the job. Hey, I want your job, and I'm going to get it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to I'm just going to earn it, Only thing you can gain out of losing is learn. Oh, I read that. You'll always have us seek. Hopefully the light at the end of the dark tunnel is just around the corner. I mean, because honestly, the thing is, if I'm forced or asked to move to another store, if they are saying, hey, we have too many people at this location, we can't keep you, I might as well look for another job. Because if I have to go change environments completely and meet all new people, I'm not going to do it at this company. And some people will say, hey, that's the bad mentality. You're not thinking clearly. You're being emotional. But it's like, yeah, but I'm emotional. And is your Ace? That's Echo used to do that too. He used to drink so loud. Ace, it makes sense because he is a big dog, but Echo sounded that loud when he used to drink water. So I'll find a light, even if I have to change tunnels. I'll find light at some point. In this regard, I have light in other things. There's other things. I'm not saying I have no, W's on my side. I'm just saying, like, the one W I was really hoping for was a financial W, and a responsibility W, and a encouragement W, and a what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence W. I was really looking for all those things, and or at least one of them. All good, man. I love helping out friends. Thank you. Hey, did you see that? What more? Stop it, man. Please stop. Please stop. Mike, I appreciate that so much, but Siike, I gotta head out, but I'm glad I caught you on the live, and when you get a chance, hit me up on Instagram. I'm always here to talk, vent, rant if you need. Always have an ear open. Dude, thank you, and you did not have to do that again. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for saying bye to Mike, by the way. Please go subscribe to him. And again, you guys should always be making friends in the chat if you know each other. Wait, is there? Holy cow. Is that a $40? Is that what is sitting here? You guys are kidding me. Jesus, Rick and Mike, like, guys, geez, thank you. Thank you so much. Holy cow. Thank you. I remember when I was, when I was transitioning to a better career path and didn't tell my company, being that it's none of their business. When they found out, they fired me out of anger, and I was upset at that first, but I knew better things were in my path. That's the hope, right? And I'm not looking for another job, although my mom wants me to. My mom was like, take tomorrow off and look for a job. I said, no, I'm going to take tomorrow off and find out how to move past this so I can continue to do the job I'm hired to do. And so I can continue to work hard for my supervisor and myself and no one else at this point. I am working hard at that place for no one else, just me and the person who believes in me. And everyone else, I'm not working hard for them. They're not in my peripherals anymore. They're seeing my taillights. I am going to move past them. There is being treated normal, and then there is taking someone's needs to consideration, especially when it's essential medical needs. You do well where you are. Why mess that up? I mean, seriously, nothing's broken. And are there things we got to work on? Sure, but every place is like that, right? But yeah, and like I said, there are people that see, they're like, hey man, you do work hard, and don't worry. Like, I had a guy who was in a different department even. I was eating lunch yesterday, and I couldn't even eat. Like, I was just miserable because I just got the news. And he said, hey, are you okay? He's like, normally you're smiling, you have your head up. He's like, but I come in here and you're not even eating your food. He's like, so he shut the doors, and he was like, can I talk to you? And he's like a higher up in another department. And I said, yeah, I applied for a job and I didn't get the promotion. And I said, I really wanted it. And I guess I didn't realize how bad on some level I did until now. But again, that wasn't the part that upset me. The upsetting part was I felt like I was being dismissed afterwards to go work somewhere else where I was kind of out of everyone's way. I said, yeah, I just feel like that. And he said, don't worry. He's like, you are a good worker. I've noticed it. He's like, and you've been killing it lately. And even for you to end up in my peripheral where I am to see how hard you're working and how well you're doing. He goes, you are. And he goes, don't let this shake you. He goes, I've had many opportunities that I didn't get, or promotions I didn't get. And now look, I'm, head of this area. And he's a younger guy than me too. He's like maybe 10 years younger than me or something. And he's like, don't give up. Like, he's like, please don't give up, because, this place does need you on some level. And I was like, man, this guy who I know far less than the other person who talked to me, who I've known for the whole time I've been there, and I thought knew well, this guy gave me a better pep talk and made me feel better about myself than the other person who knew me longer. So yeah, that was also a kick in the teeth for me. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there is being treated normal, and then there's also being treated normal, but with consideration. And I guess I was hoping to get a little bit of that consideration. But then again, I'm the guy who didn't even get his name spelled right on the Employee of the Month certificate. So who cares about that guy? If nothing else, the other employees where you have an awareness in case you have missing time and are able to help you recover. Yes, there's guys in other departments that know now. My supervisor knows, and we have an emergency contact, and they know I got to breathe. Like, you know, they know the steps, and I feel safe there. And because I feel safe there, when I'm getting overwhelmed, like I was the other night when I had like 6 things going on at once, that would normally, I would shut down. Anyone who knows who has panic attacks or gets flustered fast or easy, you would know like that you just shut down. You just power down like an android. And I couldn't. I was just, I kept going. I was like, all right, let me do that. And I ended up doing everything and still closing the store, even with all this stress and even doing a task that I'd never done before. And my supervisor was nice enough while driving home to walk me through it on the phone while the other phone was ringing, while people were asking me questions. Like, everything was happening at once. And in other cases, I probably would have shut down, especially if I was with other employees, and let them pick up the slack. But in this case, I was all by myself, and I did it. And I was so proud that I did it, and I couldn't have done that without the confidence that my supervisor gives me. Because she kept saying on the phone, don't worry, take your time. I'm here. If you need to put me down for a second, that's okay. I'll walk you through this. She nailed it. And so, of course, I want to keep working at this place and working hard for no other reason than someone there does believe in me still. And I don't want her faith in me to be unrewarded. I want her to see that I'm going to continue to try, out of respect for her and for the kindness and effort she puts into me and training me. Concerning perspective, again, my stepdad works in management and for a time was a plant manager. So I have at least a conceptual framework of why corporate would do what they do, good or bad. I mean, I understand completely why they do it. I learned that from Lego, and I've learned it from other places I've worked before Lego. I know why. I know their why. That was the thing. Normally they say, like at Lego, they taught me like always ask the why. You know, if someone's doing something that you need to train them on or whatever, or coach them on, ask the question why. Why are they still not getting it? You know, and focus on that. And so I know the why of obviously I wasn't qualified enough for the job. That's why I didn't get the job. Okay, case closed. The why of trying to get me to go to another store without putting in any consideration, that I was struggling with, because that to me, the only answer is just move him out of here, because he may not cooperate with the new manager, which is not true. I will, but I still want their job, but I will cooperate with them because it's respect. I would like to give people respect, and I hope they give it back to me, but I want that job, and I feel like I deserve it more than the person who has it, but that's not going to make me act differently towards them. I'm still going to treat them with respect, because that's what you're supposed to do, and that's the right thing to do, because they are not the enemy in this. They are just someone who also wants to increase their status in life, and they want the same things I want. Unfortunately, what they want is here where I want it, and that's not acceptable to me. So I want that thing, and I'm going to get it at some point. And my supervisor is going to be there to train me towards that goal. But so I know the why. But I am also open to looking for other work too, especially if it looks like I'm going to get shifted anyway. So we'll see. Because I just don't see them keeping as many employees at our store that we have right now. Because I think they were hoping, oh, well, we'll bring this person in, promote her, and then we'll put Siike over here, and then we have the exact number of employees here and the exact number of employees there. And so I think that was their solution. Again, just moving people around because they have a grid that they need to work out instead of treating people like people. It's just a grid, a soulless, shitty grid that makes them feel like they're doing the right thing for the business, and that's how they'll spin it. Well, this is how it's always worked, and we're doing the right thing for the business. No, making me miserable at my job now is not the right thing for the business. Making me, taking the oomph out of me trying is not good for the business. My dog Tick drinks loud like that, which made me smile. Yeah, Ace and Echo they're both like that. No, I didn't quit. It's funny. It entered my mind, but not like it wasn't like yesterday when they told me the news. I wasn't like, I want to quit. What I really wanted to do after yesterday, after they told me the news, was I just wanted to, she came up, I saw the person who offered me the transitional job. And I said, look, I'm sorry. Oh, wow. Ace, really? I think when I kissed Ace, I took something from his face a while ago, and it's just been sitting there on my mouth the whole time. I'm so sorry. That's gross. So anyway, the person who offered me the transitional job, she's also the person that took my resume and passed me on to this location because I applied to work for her at a different location. And she said, well, I don't have any openings, but this place does, and I think you'll be a good fit over there. And she sent me over there, and I started working at the place I'm working at now. And so I went to her and I said, look, I'm not ungrateful for the position you offered me, really. I go, but I don't agree with it, and I don't like it, and I don't think it put my health into consideration. I told her this a little bit later. In the moment, I was trying to tell her something like that, but then she brought something up, and then she started crying, and then she said, well, I hope you'll at least stay with us working-wise. And I just honestly said, I don't know. And then she made me want to cry, and so I walked away. And we weren't done with the conversation. I didn't get finished explaining to her why I didn't want that job. I just said, hey, look, I got to turn that job down. And then before I got into it, that moment happened. So then someone else pulled me outside and said, let's talk, and then here's some advice. And most of the advice I didn't agree with at all, and it comes from to me, an emotionless, grid-making point of view. And I don't agree with any of the advice that was given to me except one thing, which was something I was already trying to do, which was explain why I didn't want that job. So I went back to that lady and explained why. And she understood. And she says, okay, I get it. You're thinking about your health, and I understand that. You're not being forced to do anything here. So, it's okay. And we will still continue to train you. I want Erica to continue to train you because I would like to still see you succeed at this at some point one day. So that gave me faith. And that is the reason why I didn't go. I quit. But I'm not going to say no. I am going to keep my eyes out for other opportunities, and I won't turn them away just because someone has faith in me here at the job, which is nice that they do. But I just, I don't know. Maybe that's partly a little too late on some level. And I know I'm stubborn. But people they're like, oh, you're so hard on yourself. And I'm like, well, I hold myself to a standard, but I expect that from other people too. So I'm hard on them too. And they deserve it. And so do I. At some point for me, quitting feels like letting the person win, so keeping out of spite. Other times are paranoia whispers. That's the response they're banking on, so their drones work harder. I sadly get those moments of paranoia when dealing with people and end up feeling like others twist around my lack of experience or need to keep doing. I don't want to lead you wrong. I got you. Yes, I have a voice in my head too that tells me like, I get into my head a lot, right? Like that's what my supervisor says. She's like, oh, you're overthinking things, but I've been right about most of the things so far. And that's just because it comes from experience. I'm observant. I see patterns and I watch how people are, and I've been almost in this exact position before, and I've seen someone else be in this exact position before right next to me who I fought for. And my fight just only annoyed people. It didn't change anything because they were like, hey, we're the bosses and we're stubborn and we can't fight you over fighting us, or challenging us in this way, because I would do everything by the book when I challenge people. So they don't have grounds to fire me. So they don't think, so I can't be called insubordinate or whatever. I do everything by the book, but I will be in their face. And that's how I was at Lego, and that's what I'll be like now. I am nice, and I am a pushover sometimes because ultimately I don't care. I don't care if someone yells at me. I will find a way to turn their day around. I don't care about the negatives. When I'm at work, I'm a different person when I go there, and I'm nice to everybody. But hey, that I don't have to be. I don't have to be. And when I'm told, hey, just because someone has a position, don't let them get in your way. Still go for that position. Okay, I'll listen to your advice. It's good advice. So this new person who's going to take this job, I want your job, and I'm going to come for it. But through the proper channels, and I'm gonna make them regret passing on me for sure, or they won't. They may just be like, hey, F Siike. We don't see any value in him, and we watched his YouTube video, and he seems like a schmarmy piece of shit. So we're not gonna give him that chance. I'm still gonna get that job. So I'll just outlive you guys. It's did anyone else hear a double tone buzz? Oh yeah, that was me, I think. I think someone texted me or messaged me, or I got an email. Yeah, I got an email. So that's what it was. Anyway, I've talked long enough. Ultimately, to tie it all back to Venom, Eddie Brock was a loser. He screwed up his own opportunities at life, and maybe I did on some level too. Who knows? Maybe this video is doing that. I don't know. We'll see. What happens from now on. But this is for me. Like this here, I didn't use any names. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just wanted to express how I felt and why I felt the way I feel. And it's up to whoever who wants to watch it or not, but this is how I feel. I want that job, and I'm going to work for it. And because someone believes in me. And that's all I need is one person to, and one person does. At least one person. Another person does too. But one person for sure, all the time, believes in me, and that's my supervisor. So I'm not going to let her down. I'm going to push, because we work well together, we communicate well together, and that's half of working in an environment is communicating well. And that's mostly when I see people at their jobs that hate their jobs and things aren't going well, it's because they can't communicate. Me and my supervisor communicate so well. She reminds me a lot of my friend Alex, and I think that's why that I connect with her that way. Her sense of humor is just like Alex's, so it feels like I'm working with Alex, who's one of my best friends. Same sense of humor, same dry delivery, everything. She's just like Alex, and so it's comfortable. I'm like, oh man, she even has a similar speech pattern to Alex, so it's just easy for me to communicate with her, and that's what you need. And so I hope this new person is good at communicating, because then it's gonna fall apart. If we can't all talk and communicate, and that's something we all do really well right now. There's some things we still need to work on. Like I said, every place has it, but at least between me and the supervisor, communication ain't one of them. We're certainly excel at that, and I just hope the new person can match that or even come close. You heard double. Yeah, that was my phone, I think. Take care of yourself, Siike. You got an ace in your corner. You got us. You're being classy and not trying to drag names through the mud. Just make sure the guy that took the job understands this isn't personal and that you aren't wanting an enemy to them. You just want the job. I mean, that's exactly it. It has nothing to do with the person, although I feel like they don't deserve it as much as I do. But again, that's my opinion. They obviously have a different opinion, and I'm glad somebody won out of this situation. But yes, it is not personal to them. The job is what I want. And so whoever's in that job, they just need to move to another location, or get tired of it, or realize they're not good at it, or do great at it and move up at another place, whatever. They just need to get out of my way. That's the job I want. And that's what I'm going to work for. So thank you all for listening to me this whole time, rambling all this BS. And sorry for the flake of whatever that was on my cheek that Ace put there when I kissed him before I went live. So yeah, sorry for that. You're like, is that a mole? What's on Siike's face? Nope, it was just like a piece of something. I think he was chewing on the chair a little bit, and it was a piece of that. So anyway, thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. And for the $40 donations, like Mike and Rick, it's above and beyond. You guys didn't have to do that, and I'm very grateful that you did, and that will go a long way into helping me. When I think I have to cross the $100 marker, and I think that might have done it. So once that happens, YouTube will send me a check like next month, or like a month away or something. So when that comes in, that'll be a nice bit of help at a time where I should have got taxes back. But so this year I'm just going to do my taxes. I'm going to turn them in on April 15th and pay them later, hopefully when I have more money. So thank you guys very much. And thank you, Swordsman, Andrew, everyone who gave me advice, and whether you agree with some of my stance on stuff or don't, like, I appreciate you just hearing me out, and the 10 thumbs up and the donations. Like, it's more than I deserve, I think, on a lot of levels. So thank you very much. And hello, Brendan. Sorry, you're in right at the end of the show, but feel free to scroll back and watch from the beginning if you'd like. And we will see you all next time. And I'll try to do more of these when I can. And maybe next time I'll try to do it when I'm a little more cool-headed and less emotional. But I'm rarely less emotional, so probably not. So anyway, thank you so much. See you in the future. Peace.